So while the chicken is marinating in the first marinade, let's go ahead and start the other one. Just go ahead and get yourself a nice bowl like this, and we'll start putting ingredients in there. So let's go ahead and start by putting 6 tablespoons of yogurt, plain yogurt, in here. About 1 cup. And as you might have guessed, I'm using organic yogurt. And in my research, I did see a video of a guy doing tandoori chicken where he actually suggests taking your yogurt and putting it in a cheesecloth, and then wringing out all the water that's in there, I guess by placing it, in that cheesecloth and hanging it over like your sink or something for 2 hours, and that gets the water out, but I'm not going to really bother with that. So to this yogurt now, we're going to use, put in maybe half a teaspoon of some turmeric. We're mostly going for a red color, but it's okay. It's, it'll look nice to have some turmeric in there too. 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, and a teaspoon or so of some garam masala, and for some of the other ingredients, I'm going to go ahead and just grind those up in my mortar and pestle that I've bought. So yes, I did finally buy a mortar and pestle. This one is a granite one. I was pretty picky for a while. I wanted a certain kind of one. This is a 6-inch granite mortar and pestle. It's actually a Jamie Oliver mortar and pestle, who Jamie Oliver is a famous British chef on TV, and I essentially bought it from a store for $30, which is pretty expensive, but I saw ones for cheaper on the internet that were 6-inch, but they were, with the shipping tax, it would have worked out to $30 anyway. But this one seems pretty good. So let's grind up a few spices here. All right, time to take this on its maiden voyage. Let's start off by grinding up some cumin seeds instead of just using cumin powder. You can use either one, but it's going to taste, the taste is going to be stronger with freshly ground cumin seeds. But yeah, you want about a tablespoon. I've never even used a mortar and pestle before, but I imagine it's pretty straightforward. I just put 3 of my Chinese hot peppers that I dried, as you might remember on a previous episode of my cooking show, and I got a dried jalapeno in there. I want to try to make this into a powder using this thing. And maybe we can cut our, add this to some paprika, and maybe if we do that, we won't have to use any of that cayenne powder that's so harsh. Alright, so I think I've learned that trying to grind dried chili peppers into a powder is not always so easy. A lot of it's still in big chunks, so I don't know that I'm going to be using most of this in here, but I'm going to use some of it though. The Chinese peppers managed to get into somewhat of a powder. Still, I'm seeing lots of like whole seeds, which I don't really like. I think a lot of people use a spice grinder, which is an electronic thing to cut up things like chili peppers and whatnot, and that might be a better option for this, or just use some store-bought powders. But it should be a powder, is what I'm trying to say, though. Next thing I'm going to try to grind up is some garlic and try to make a little bit of a kind of puree. I've got 4 cloves in there. I'm going to add just a little bit of water to try and help with this. Let's see how this works. Okay, right off the bat, that's kind of hard. I think it's best to chop up the garlic. Let me go do that. Okay, let's try it with the garlic that's been chopped up. Just want to see how this works instead of using my blender. I'd much rather use this method if it works. But it's got to be a paste. It can't really be whole garlic. So here's the garlic paste. For the most part, it seemed to work. I'd add a little bit more water to get it really pasty, but yeah, I think I've got enough, you know, add down to this. Worked reasonably well, and now I need to make some ginger paste. Grinded up some ginger, and it's turned out really well. It looks like looks very, very nice. So put about, you know, about a teaspoon or so. It can be a little bit more, a little bit less, no big deal. I think next I'm going to clean this out a little bit and maybe try to do some grind up some black pepper for this. Okay, I grinded up some black pepper. Add that in, and also gonna put about a teaspoon of some salt, and I'll probably finish it with just a little bit of black salt too. And now I'm gonna add about 1 level teaspoon of some good red paprika, which is dried chili powder. That is not hot, and this is going to help give it its red color, because I don't have a whole lot of chili powder in there that's red, that's, you know, from spicy peppers, because I don't want this too spicy. So I'm cutting it with some red, the red powder here, and this is what's going to give it, the tandoori chicken, its red color. Don't add food coloring to this dish. It's really, you know, it's supposed to be red, but that's just not a good way of going about getting that redness. This is going to give it a much more natural look than if you had red food coloring in it. So don't worry so much if your chili, you know, if your mixture here doesn't look very red. It's better to just leave out the food coloring. It's going to be healthier for you in the end. And I can see this is pretty, you know, not that red at all. I'm going to add maybe a little bit more of the paprika, redden it up a bit, but I'm not doing too much more than that. You can also add some mustard oil at this point. I saw one guy do that on the internet in my research, and it looked kind of good, you know, having 2 tablespoons of mustard oil, but I don't have any of that, and I'm not 100% sure I know how to make it. I don't know if you just take mustard and add oil to it, mix it up, or if you know, cook some mustard seeds. So I'm just going to leave that out of this one for now, but it might be something nice to try sometime.